Hello and welcome to part 2 of the Horsa Glider build. This week I'm going to be painting it. Now I've had a bit of a look round at some of the colours I'd like to use. Unfortunately I haven't got an airbrush, so I can't use one of them. I have to use spray paints if I want a spray paint finish. With that in mind, I've decided to go for leather brown for the brown colour, Army Painter, and Army Green, again by Army Painter. Now I would have gone for Monster Brown if it was available in a spray, but unfortunately the only brown they've got in that spray colour is Fur Brown and Leather Brown. So I think leather is the closest. So they're the two colours that I'm going to settle on. And then obviously a matte black for the underside. Unfortunately I'm nearly empty on the black, so I'm going to have to leave the black coat until last. And probably go with the leather brown and then apply the green marking, camouflage markings to the top half. If that changes, if the paint arrives in time, then I'll switch that round and do the black first. But anyway, the first job that I need to do is to mask it up. So I've got some thin masking tape, which I'm going to use, but because there's going to be areas that I want to make sure they don't get any spray, I've got some tissue paper that just came as wrapping, and I should use the masking tape to hold it over the areas that I don't want painted. So what I'll do is I'll do the masking up and then I'll bring it back and show you it as I have it. Right, I've masked the underside of the wings in case you catch them when I'm spraying this front edge, and all the chassis underneath, and I've joined the tissue paper up to the right layer of masking tape. Make sure I've got it smoothed out so I don't get anything come through it. And then I've masked off the tail upright because that's going to be black as well. So basically the black hasn't arrived. I haven't got enough to do the black, so I'm going to start with the leather brown. So I'm going to take this outside now and give this its first coat of the leather brown, and then I'll bring you back. Right, so I've given it a primer coat of the leather brown, which is it's not too bad, but I don't know whether I'd like to go a little bit lighter, which is why I'm experimenting with this monster brown now. Not totally sure which is the best, and I wanted to get a feel for what it would look like with these on. But the fact that it's got a good base coat of the brown now, that's fine. It will give it a nice base for all the other paints. But what I'll do is I'm going to have a little bit of a think, keep going with this, and then I'll bring you back when I'm ready to break into the army green. Right, so I've decided to go with the monster brown. I'm a lot happier with a lighter colour. It's going to need another coat, definitely, but that's not a problem. I've also applied the army green now, and what I'm doing is I'm following a photograph of the Horsa Glider that's at the Pegasus Bridge Museum outside, because obviously that's the one that I took the inspiration for the colour inside, so I thought I'd go for the outside as well. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to allow this, I've given it a second coat of the army green. I'm going to let that thoroughly dry, and then I'm going to apply another coat of the monster brown all over, and then I'll again let that dry, and then just have another look at it just to make sure that I'm happy that it's got a good coating, a good coverage on all the edges, and if so, then I'll be able to move on to the next stage, which will be the black undercarriage. You know, all the underside of the wings, the bottom of the fuselage. So there's still plenty to do, but as I say, I want to give this monster brown another coat as well. But I've got to wait for this green to dry now, so I'll bring you back when that's done. Right, so the green and the brown top are now painted, and as you can see, I've masked it up ready now to spray the black, which runs down the sides, underneath the entire plane, underneath the wings, underneath the back wings, and then the tail itself. I think the masking has took a lot longer to do than probably the painting will, but unfortunately, as you can hear, I'm pretty low on black paint, so I am literally waiting for the postman to come this morning. So I thought I'd just get this masked up and just give you a last look at it. Hopefully the paint will arrive any minute, and I can press on with it. So I'll bring you back soon. Right, so that's all the matte black work done now to the sides and the underneath of the wings and the wheels and everything. Pretty much got it covered with all the masking, but there was just the odd bit of blow here and there that I've just tidied up with a few dabs of little paint, but nothing much had got through. I'm going to let it dry now, and then I'll just have another double check to make sure there's no little bits that have got through and I've missed them. Just show you underneath. It's still a little bit wet, but as you can see, if I pan that back a bit, it's absolutely matte black underneath. So what I'm going to do now, as I say, I'm going to let it dry, just double check that there's nothing I need to touch up anywhere, and then the next thing we'll be putting on the D-Day stripes. Now I know I'm not going to be using this for D-Day as such. I'm going to be using it for Market Garden, but nevertheless I've checked some of the old pictures and they still had the same markings on. I'm not sure that they all did, but certainly some did. So, and I think, from making it a bit more universal, so if ever I go down the line of D-Day, I can use it for that as well. I am going to put the stripes on, but that'll be after I've let it dry, like I say, touched up any bits that need touching up, and then I'll go on to the black and white striping. And then finally, I'll put all the roundels and markings on it as well. So, I'll bring you back when I'm further along. Right, so I've masked it up now for the white and black lines. I've tried to make it as straight as I can, but I'm trying to remember the fact that these were kind of brushed on at the last minute, so they weren't exactly perfect. But you can't help trying to make them perfect. It's just one of them things. It must be OCD. But I'm going to give it my best go anyway. And when they've dried, I'll take that off and do the reverse for the black lines. Right, I'll bring you back in a second. Right, so I've finally finished the D-Day stripes now. I'm trying to resist the temptation to smooth out any little bits that are not quite straight. And remember that it was hand painted, this part, so it doesn't have to be absolutely parallel and perfect. But I'm pretty happy with it now. I think I've reached a happy compromise. It's pretty neat and tidy. I've just got to let it dry now because obviously, all of this is still wet. So I'm going to let the white dry overnight, and in the morning I'll have a quick look and see if there's any little bits I've caught or I've put my finger on something that I shouldn't have, and just tidy it up. And then it'll be looking at putting the roundels and everything on it then, which I've printed out, but obviously I've got to make sure that I can cut them and try and get it perfectly round, otherwise it's going to really show up. But as I say, I'll let it dry overnight, and I'll have a look at that tomorrow, and that hopefully we'll get that done then. Right, I'll bring you back soon. Right, so as you can see, I've attached the roundels. Now basically I downloaded them from Sarissa's site, so obviously they're not transfers. They just give you a free download with them on, and then you've got to print them off. And what I've gone for is I've printed them off, but then I've printed them onto a sticker, and I've stuck them on. And then what I'm also doing, now that I've got them in place, is I'm going over them with some anti-shine matte varnish, just to make sure that they stay affixed and there's no peeling. I've already given them one coat. Same on the side ones. What I will do when this is dry is I'll give the entire plane a dust spray in the anti-shine varnish as well, just to make sure that it's totally sealed. There we go. Right, so that's basically it complete. So what I'll do now is I'll take a few photographs and we'll have a look at it, and then we can wind this video up. Right, back in a second. So here it is complete. Couple of things to mention really. One, you don't necessarily need an airbrush. I know it's nice to have one, but I just haven't got the room for one. But you can manage really well without. Obviously I've used spray cans just to do the undercoats, but everything else that I've painted by hand with a hand brush. So you can get, a decent effect with it, so nothing to worry about. One other thing to mention is, if you do go log and paint it on the inside like I did, don't forget to stuff some tissue paper in there to stop the paint going through and ruining the inside. Well, that's part 2 complete. Hope you found something useful in this pair of videos. If you have, please consider giving me a thumbs up or even subscribing. If you want to ask anything, please do make a comment. I always answer. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.